Hello and welcome. I'm George, your host and founder of Sharing with Care TV. I have the pleasure of interviewing Kelly Drake, a highly experienced life coach and organizational consultant. Kelly will be sharing a sneak preview into her inspiring Second Act Success training program. So, without me even attempt to explain what this exciting program involves, I'll let Kelly, rightly so, fully explain instead. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy this talk. Bye for now.
Hi, Kelly. Glad to
Hello,
have you back
George.
on Share Me Care TV. Um, I think we've got a really exciting one here. We can talk about your Second Act Success coaching program. Um, Great for you to just get all the information out there because I think it's going to be really valuable and many could benefit from this program. So,
Thanks.
to kick things off,
Yeah,
just like to know about what inspired you to create this program. What was the inspiration? What's the purpose behind it?
it's a really good question. I think there's lots of bits of the jigsaw that came together. It started off in lockdown, actually, when I was thinking about, I was thinking a lot about purpose in my own life and doing quite a bit of work one-to-one with people and starting to see some real commonality around some of the things that people go through, women go through when they think about rejigging their career. And so I drew together, like many people in lockdown, I had time, and I brought together some ideas into this program called Do What Makes You Happy. And
Right.
I was really interested in that idea of why don't we do what makes us happy? Like, what is it? And it made me realize, well, part of that is because quite often we don't always know what makes us happy.
Very true.
Or if we do, we've got so much stuff going on that we feel like we can't do it. We're not sanctioned to do it. And it's a difficult thing to do sometimes to actually, if you like, monetize your passion, monetize what you're good at, monetize what you care about, so that you can make a living out of it. And that's not the way we're schooled in careers advice. We it's an outside in process, like what is it you want to be rather than what is it that you love doing? What is it you care about? So I brought all these ideas together. I wrote this program called Do What Makes You Happy, and I started to deliver it with women online in lockdown. And it really had an impact. It was very much about, I discovered this thing called the Ikigai as well, which is a Japanese tool. The Ikigai.
Okay, tell me more.
So the Ikigai is it's a Japanese philosophy, actually. And I discovered it through working with a couple of really amazing coaches, Hetty Einzig and Liz Rivers. And they run some training for women about purpose. And I went on that training some years ago. And the Ikigai is a Japanese philosophy, really, of life. But part of it is a way of thinking about what is it that fires you up? What is it that gets you up in the morning? What's your reason for being? And I learned how to use this tool, which has been turned into a coaching tool, really, to help people to work out what their purpose could be. And I think so. I worked with these ideas of purpose and what gets you up in the morning and how do you monetize what you love. And I wanted to write a book. That's what that led me to wanting to write a book. And as I started to write the book, this idea of the second act started to come through the ideas and I was writing about in the book, being the moment in your life when which is similar to the Do What Makes You Happy kind of philosophy, but the moment in your life when you just think, okay, I have done an awful lot for other people. I might have done my career because it was suggested by school, my parents, what I thought was what I should do, etc. Or I've worked in sectors that I thought were going to make me money, but actually I've made money, but actually I'm not happy, I'm not fulfilled.
Sure.
And this idea that we have life cycles, perhaps we're in our 20s and 30s, we if we're lucky, we go to higher education, we get a profession, we go into that, we do well, possibly, and then you might get to your 30s or your 40s and think, well, what next? And that's really the idea of the second act, is that moment in your life, and it can come from divorce as well, life cycles, life moments where anybody wakes up and thinks, I need something new.
It's interesting where you said somebody wakes up, because I felt it was leading to that aha moment. So this person, this individuals, they, from what you're describing, they've lived a life, a relatively fulfilling life, or may not have done, but they're giving quite a lot, and then they have this aha moment at a particular point where you've returned to cycles. And is that the second act? Is that where it aligns to that second act? Is like, okay, is this about me? This is about me now?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a bit about, this is about me now. This is about what I want. You know, if I think about clients often that have come to me for work, and we've worked together for a couple of sessions and we start to see change. Part of what, when I say to them, you know, what do you think you did differently as a result of the coaching? They've said is, well, I just started putting myself first. You know, and that kind of quite simple shift in, right, I'm not going to do that for somebody else. I'm not going to do that because it's sanctioned, because I should do it. I'm gonna think about me first. And I think I just want to say, the reason I work with women is because I think that because of misogyny and sexism, you know, and this is an intersectional thing, we've all got this. There are particular groups in society that find that harder, but because of institutional oppression, you know, it's much, you know, we're not schooled in putting ourselves first, are we? And you know, there's all sorts of things going on against that, including racism and sexism and homophobia and all those sorts of stuff. So yeah, I choose to work with women because I guess I know that, and because I understand how hard it is to say it's my turn now.
Okay, so in terms of the type of audience that you want your program to attract, I guess it's those individuals, women firstly, which I totally understand.
Well, the program's for women, yeah, primarily. And I mean, you know, I've run all my work with women, but I have male clients, obviously, and I may well start working with doing this program with a mixed group soon. But I think I want to run it this way first of all.
So what are the main characteristics in terms of the individuals that you'd like to attract for this program? How would you describe in terms of your audience? What characteristics or themes would you like them to bring to the program where you feel I believe this is the type that I believe could really benefit from the program I'm offering?
Yeah. I guess, well, first of all, you've got a readiness. There must be, you know, there's always a sort of readiness when you walk into coaching or therapy or any kind of development process. There's a readiness to engage with the process. So, you know, an openness to thinking about, okay, this is where I am now. This is who I am now. This is who I have been. So definitely people who are prepared to look at the past and to look at the what's happened to them, how that's affected them, and how that can perhaps dictate choices in the future. So there's an openness. It's not to say we don't have defenses, but there's an openness to the process. There's a curiosity, people who are curious about what could happen next. There's a preparedness, I guess, to face things that might be uncomfortable. So I think that's also part of the makeup, really, the eagerness. And you know, you have to be hungry, don't you? You have to have a certain hunger to want to get going, you know, move forward.
Change and transform.
And we're all, you know, most people fear change. Most people are nervous about change. You know, there's always the sense of what might people think, what might people say. You know, I suppose it's that idea of people coming into the program who've walked a path where they're ready for something new. They're ready for something new. But we know, don't we, that might take time.
That brings me to my next question. In as much as, like, say, for example, I've enrolled into your program, and you've explained to me that it's for those who want something new, and there's gonna be lots of sharing, possibly intimate sharing. How is that individual? If I was feeling a little bit insecure in myself, how would I be supported through that journey of moving towards transformation, but being supported? Because again, it's about taking off a layer.
Sure. I I think safety in groups and safety in coaching is really important. And I work with a set of sort of ethical standards, and I get people to sign agreements, which is about, this is what the coaching will be about. This is your responsibility. This is my responsibility to make sure that people are safe. We use ground rules and agree ground rules very, very, together as a group. And people are checked in with on my programs, and on my coaching, people are checked in with to make sure that they are they're doing okay. And there's also an agreement whereby, if it looks like people perhaps need more therapeutic intervention, that will be discussed, and people start knowing that, really. So that
in terms of if they needed therapeutic intervention, would you make a referral or make a suggestion?
I wouldn't make, I think what I do is I get people to know that if it feels like there's something going on that needs help elsewhere, that we'll talk about that.
So that's empowering in itself. In fact, that's very empowering in itself, getting to that level of realization.
Yeah, exactly. And often, people do come into coaching. I've got a number of clients who come into coaching and who have at some point left the coaching to go into therapy, or who've done therapy alongside it. That often works really beautifully, actually, because of course the work that we're about, which is, you want to change your job, you want your life to be more fulfilling, on a career level, on a purpose level, what the hell are you here to do? Well, of course, that's going to bring up all sorts of feelings about, why hasn't it been like that? What stopped you? What fears and anxieties do you bring to the table? Of course, all of that sort of stuff is going to get triggered.
And that's, Kelly, that in a way makes your work that you do very, very powerful. So you approach it in terms of coaching at a particular level, but the fact that you take them on a journey where that individual they have to meet themselves, and then they recognize that, hold on here, these are the emotional blocks. I need to, as you mentioned before, continue the coaching, or go to therapy, or do it alongside the coaching. So that in a way makes the work that you do very, very powerful and beneficial, because it's not just, okay, you want to be a manager, you want to be a leader, you want to be a director or CEO, and that's it, I'm going to show you to get there. It seems that your approach is very holistic.
It has to be for me in order to make the impact that I want to make in my work. It has to be. I mean, obviously, I'm a coach. I'm not going to be pushing people into spaces they don't want to go, and I don't do that. I don't work like that, and that would be unethical. My work as a coach is about building. That's what coaches do. We're not about unearthing and digging deep. We're about building, creating. However, my approach does necessitate an element of looking and of being aware. So yes, it is. Somebody comes to me and they want to step into their power more. They want to step into their leadership more. They want to embody that more. We're inevitably going to be looking at issues like, well, what gets in the way of that? What's stopping you? What's hindering you from seeing yourself as a powerful person, embodying the leadership role that you've been given? And that those sorts of questions will inevitably take you into more emotional work and more emotional ground. And
sorry.
No, go on.
And would you be, what you described there in terms of that self-reflection, would you be using those kind of modalities within the your second act success program, in terms of, either an individual, myself, so if it was myself, you arrived at a point in time, I now want to kind of move beyond what I've been doing, I now want to go forward in an area where it's my space. Would you be using, is that a similar sort of approach you would take?
Absolutely. So, I mean, in a way, the second act success is just my work in a group, So it's essentially, okay, who are we in the group? How it will be is, who are we in the group? What's our intention for this process? where do we start from? You know, who are you? You know, you're a manager, you're a this, you're a that, you're a freelancer. You know, what is it? Where is it you want to get to by the end of the process? What's your intentions? Doesn't necessarily mean we'll get there, but the intentionality is very important in the work.
Okay.
You know, I'm not about setting goals and definitely going for those and targets, but I'm definitely about intentionality and about the drive towards something different. And inevitably in that process, we'll be looking at, you know, what is the second act? What is it that stops us? You know, what are the hindrances and the difficulties about stepping into it? What do you want your second act to be like? What are your particular blocks and hurdles and doubts and as imposter stuff and what have you? What's your particular take on that for you in your life? And also you've got all that internal stuff, but you've also that massive amount of external difficulties right now. So you've got money that we need to be talking about, like how do we earn money? And what's our relationship with money and you know, the flow of money in our lives.
And some people do have issues with money, wanting to let think. And I sometimes do believe is it a religious influence where money is the root of all evil, and then we apply that to ourselves, and it's like, okay, yeah, money's a no-no, but yeah, it's part of society, part of life. So you will address that in your
massively address. Yeah, I mean, money, and because if we're about second act success, you know, and especially for women, a lot of women don't earn the money that they should. And a lot of that can be down to the gender pay gap, etc., but also it's about the way we value our talents and skills. And so I think our relationship with money tells us a lot about our self-worth, as you said, you know. So money is the root of all evil is one narrative, but there are many narratives about money, you know, right away from you know, I deserve lots of money to I deserve nothing, you know, etc. So going back to the sort of what I call the external stuff that we'll work with money, we'll work with time, like how do we make time work for us and what gets in the way of us? Because, you know, if you want to change your career or your purpose, you're going to need time. You're going to need time, and you've got to carve that time out. And, which is why I made the program 6 months, because you know, I believe that we need more time to digest and to think and to experience and to play with ideas. You know, quite often we don't get a chance when we're a young person to play with ideas, you know, and that's
kind of forced and pigeonholed into a way of thinking.
Definitely. And I think like 21st century work is very different. You know, we're on the cusp of something very different. You know, when we were growing up, George, you know, you didn't have people who were called content creators. You know, you might have had people who were writers, you know, or authors, but I would never have seen myself.
And influencers.
Exactly. Or any of the other kind of, you know, I mean, if you look up any degree course now, it is absolutely fascinating what you can get a degree in. You know, it's amazing. The creative arts, for instance, have got it's just so exciting. And those sorts of things weren't around. So, you know, we need to play with what's out there. What can we do? What can we do? What do we love? And what's out there that can help us? So money and time are two big external nasties really that we have to think about. And the other is caring responsibilities. You know, us as mums and dads, as men and women, as people who are who've got caring responsibilities. So how do we juggle? You know, how are we juggling our future purpose with the fact that we do have responsibilities for other people? How can we carve out time and space for us? How can we make sure that we are living a life that feels congruent with our value? And that's really my work. That's what I've, you know, that's what drives me is that because I've said to you before, the biggest thing is wasted potential. Wasted potential is something that really gets me. And that's about my life, you know, my experience of my family and seeing people's wasted potential.
Fantastic.
And that being
Sorry, you
No.
mentioned that your program it's for 6 months.
Yeah.
So which is great, and it's a journey. You're right. That change, that transformation is in terms of a life cycle, it's a journey, and beyond 6 months as well. So two things. Um, how would an individual be able to enroll onto your program?
Yeah.
And secondly, over a course of 6 months, how often would they be attending?
Yeah. So you simply enroll by, having a conversation with me. We both checking that, if I don't know you or we haven't met before, that we just check that it's a good fit. So
Okay, sorry, come back to conversation with how would I as an individual have that
you go on
conversation?
the website. I'll go on the website and there is a button that you click and it comes up with my email and you just go, hello, I'm interested.
So I'm being a bit pushy now. What's your website address?
Oh, no, it's not pushy. It is www.kellyadrake.com. So you look that up, or I'm on Instagram as kelly.a.drake, or I'm on LinkedIn as Kelly Alison Drake, and Facebook Kelly Alison Drake. So I'm on all those platforms.
Fantastic.
So yeah, Kelly A Drake is my my business name. That's me.
Brilliant.
And you send me a message going, yeah, I'm interested. And I go, great, let's have a chat. We have a chat.
Okay.
It sounds like it's something you want to do. I feel like it's a good fit for you too. So we connect. And so there is that kind, it's not a formal application, but it's just a conversation.
Okay.
Because it's important that, everybody is right for the space. And then you pay a deposit. And then in January, we get going and we meet up in person in this fabulous space called E7 Movement, which is in Forest Gate in East London. It's a beautiful arch, which is there for wellness. And they run lots of courses and classes. And I'm working with them to use the space. It's lovely.
Fantastic.
We meet up one Saturday afternoon a month. And we do a 2.5-hour workshop, which is a, really exciting, dynamic, fun workshop about something to do with the process of moving into your second act. So, what is the second act? What are the barriers and hurdles? What's your strategy? How are you going to find your purpose? And then as we go along through the 6 months, we'll pick up on particular issues that people are facing and we'll do workshops on that. And I'll use all the usual kind of coaching and facilitation techniques that we use to help people work through processes.
Brilliant. Yeah. I'm loving the idea of second act because I think we do reach a point, as you mentioned before, different cycles. But that second act is like, okay, particularly if you're middle-aged, have a middle-aged standing. And it's like, okay, I may have family or I've achieved my career and now this is about me. Now it could be because I now want to just make a complete transformation of the life I've had. And now I can enter this program that one understands me and two will help me along that journey. So yeah, what would be the lasting what message would you like to give to the audience, like individuals watching this recording right now? What message would you like to leave with them in terms of the second act for them? Because it's quite a big, it's a loaded area. It's a huge area, that second act, because most of the times we don't actually think about it. We just plod along with our lives. And
yeah, that's right. Absolutely. I think it's quite useful sometimes to use labels to identify spaces, So I like the idea of the second act because I think it's like, it helps people to identify and that's where they are. So I think really that the lasting message is an inspirational one, really, about that it's a possibility for you, having another go at working out who you are, who you want to serve, what you want to do, what impact you want to make in the world, how much money you want to make, how you can put your creativity and your personality and your gifts and your talents into the world in a different package or in the same package, but in a different, sector or what have you. How you want work to look and feel like is entirely possible. It's entirely possible. It's not necessarily always going to be easy to shift and change. We know that, but it's entirely possible. And the route that we can take to do that is a really interesting journey. It's a journey worth going on,
Fantastic. Don't give away too much because that's the secret.
Okay.
Don't give way to.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. I'm
Fantastic.
very passionate about it. I'm passionate about the work, and I'm passionate about helping people to do it for themselves. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
Thanks, George. Thanks for the opportunity
Thank you,
to talk
Kelly.
about
Thank
it.
you. It's always lovely speaking to you, and definitely going to have you back on again.
Yeah, look forward to
But
talking
yeah,
next
but
time.
all the best in the with your training. I'm sure it's
Thank
going to be a
you.
massive success, and I would say anybody watching this should definitely enroll, because Kelly is an amazing woman, amazing coach, amazing at many things, in fact. So thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, George.
Until next time. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Cheers.
All
Bye.
right. Bye bye. Bye.